Hey, good Friday morning, everybody. This is First Warning Storm Team Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich pouring over the data this morning, looking at the severe weather event that's going to unfold for the Carolinas tomorrow morning into the early part of the afternoon. Unfortunately, the storm to our west, we talked a lot about it. You hopefully saw my blog yesterday referring to the big outbreak we had. Unfortunately, we did in Oklahoma and Arkansas. And as of last I checked, unfortunately, 6 fatalities so far with this storm system. So I really need people to pay attention to this situation because it does have the potential to produce some really severe weather for us early Saturday morning. Let's get right to the information right now. You can see here's our storm system, pretty large storm system. The upper low and surface low are back in this area, and you can see this big occluded front and cold front extending out ahead of it. You see the tornado watch box, which includes parts of Alabama, Mississippi, into Louisiana. You can also see, I'll turn the satellite off, that's also where we have our moderate risk from the Storm Prediction Center for severe storms. You see a moderate risk, that's an extremely high chance for severe weather. Also, the yellow area is the slight risk, which does extend into the upstate of South Carolina and into southwestern parts of North Carolina. You could see what's going on. We've got this squall line, but embedded in it, we've seen some supercell type structures. There's one right here. There's a couple more back here, and then we're getting good old-fashioned supercells trying to form in the Delta region of Mississippi into parts of Louisiana. Big event going on this weekend right there, Talladega Motor Speedway. This line, if it continues chugging to the east, is going to be there about 12:30 to 1 o'clock local time, which is central time. So campers, or if you know anybody down there, you better have a place to go when that line arrives. So that's what it looks like right now. What's it going to look like as it moves our way? Well, let me turn the model data on and show you shear. Wind shear is the thing you worry about. When you have a lot of shear, that's the one ingredient that will produce a lot of straight line wind damage or rotating updrafts, which then could produce tornadoes. This is our one model, a shear HRW model, and you can see as we go out into the future, this is 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. The purple, shear off the charts. Our legend's off to the left. That's 400 meters squared per second. So basically, we've got a lot of shear. Anything above 250 is pretty ridiculous. And here we've got, tons of it, up to around 500. A couple other models. Here's the NAM model looking at the same thing. Plenty of shear. GFS model, same thing, plenty of shear. So that's the shear. You can see the slight risk is already up from the Storm Prediction Center for all of North Carolina and pretty much all of South Carolina and Virginia. The reason that is the case is, let me loop this. This is our CAPE, and we'll go back to the beginning here. CAPE essentially is something we call convective available potential energy. It's a fancy name for fuel for thunderstorms. If you have tons of shear and tons of CAPE, you got a problem. Watch what happens. This is a loop going out to the future. This is through the afternoon hours into tonight, and I'm going to stop this at about 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Right there. We'll go back one frame. That's 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. You can see we've got plenty of CAPE, and if I go out a couple more frames, notice that it really peaks east of Charlotte because the heating of the day, this is about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we start to get the heating. So there could be actually really, really strong storms east of us, but there's plenty of shear and CAPE that's going to be around here. Here's a couple models we're going to look at. This is currently one model. We're going to go out into the future. This is 8 p.m. tonight. Notice the very strong squall line. 11 p.m. starts to move into western North Carolina, upstate of South Carolina. This is 2 a.m. This is 5 a.m. Now the line is weakening, but remember there's a lot of shear and a lot of CAPE. 8 a.m. there seems to be a break, but there seems to be some cells out here. The main line is back to the west. This is 11 a.m. and this is 2 p.m. It looks like at 2 p.m. it's starting to move east of Charlotte, and then this is 5 o'clock. So you clearly see between about 11 a.m. and 5 p.m., it looks like this is going to shift to the east. So the potential is there that we're going to see some really strong storms. And you can see over here in the corner, this is the warm front. I really worry about the potential for straight line winds as well as tornadoes. So we're not out of the woods for tornadoes with this system. So please, overnight, pay attention for more watches and warnings that will likely be issued. Those watches and warnings will likely be issued probably during the early morning hours. So this is one model. This is a short range WRF model that does a pretty good job. But let me show you the other models just so you get an idea of what we're talking about here. We'll go to the NAM model, same kind of setup here. We have to go back a couple frames. This is 5 p.m. You see at 11 p.m. Again, the resolution isn't as good with this model, but don't look at the intensity. Look at the location of the rain. As we go into 8 a.m., moving into the mountains, 11 a.m., moving east of the mountains, 2 p.m., and then 5 p.m. So the trend is about the same, that the system's going to move east of us pretty quickly. Let's look at one more model, the GFS model. We'll look at the same thing. Let's go back. Here's the system approaching 8 p.m. tonight, 2 a.m. in the morning, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Notice the rain heaviest in the mountains. And then 2 p.m. tomorrow afternoon, it has the heaviest right over us. So notice all the models between that 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. It looks like that's when the actual front will move through, and then by the evening it clears out pretty quickly. So it's likely that'll be the time frame that we see the worst of the weather, but there's still going to be some storms out ahead of it, because as you saw, there was clearly, on this model, there clearly is some cells trying to form out ahead of the main line. So it's likely we are going to see maybe some stragglers or some little individual storms that are going to be out ahead of the main line as it moves to the east. So again, this is the situation right now. You see the storm system off to the west. I would anticipate rain being around when you wake up in the morning. And if we're going to see severe storms, they could happen anytime from 8 a.m. till about noon to 1 o'clock, depending on the speed of the system. So I would recommend that you please pay attention to the weather for the next 24 hours or so, especially into the overnight hours. I will be on today at 4, 5, 5:30, and 6 to keep you up to date on this. And if we have to, again, we'll stay up all night to keep an eye on the storm as we go into your Saturday morning. Today should be beautiful, though. Get out and enjoy it. Nice day today. Don't worry about the weather until tonight and tomorrow. And, of course, we'll keep you safe here at News Channel 36. Hope you have a great Friday, and we'll see you starting at 4 o'clock.